Taste of Dragons Gaming Podcast. We eat sandwiches and play games. Taste of Dragons Gaming Podcast. A podcast for everyone's taste.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Taste of Dragons, the Toddcast, the video game podcast that all you chefs listen to. This week, we're drifting through Tsushima, eating some delicious food. The news is unexpected. Our topic is going quick. And our dragon this week is ambitious. Composer, Yoko Kanno. And as always, my name is Brian.
My name is Troy.
I'm Manda.
And I'm Lewis.
And I'm Joe.
Do you want to take that again?
Let's do that again. I didn't know which order was going.
I didn't
Right
know
back
who
in the
was
fold,
last.
Lewis,
I
like you
didn't
never
know.
left. It's fine. So yeah, you just heard Lewis. He is back on this week.
Woo.
So how you been, sir?
I've been good, you know. Maybe working some, playing some, sleeping some.
Lewis,
Yeah,
would you consider yourself a chef?
A chef? Definitely not.
I love that you thought about it. You like Rolodexed all the meals you could like cook. Was it an impressive list?
More than a person would think.
Oh.
I can cook. I just choose not to.
Oh, bold decision.
That's a mistake that my family members make. They're like, "Oh, Lewis can't cook." I'm like, "No. I can do it. I just don't do it."
The art is in the withholding.
Yeah. And then when I do, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know you could cook." I'm like, "I told you I could."
But like peanut butter and bread is so much easier.
Yeah.
Or you don't eat bread, so peanut butter and celery?
Peanut butter and
butter?
just on a knife. I don't know.
Peanut butter on a spoon is magical. I don't know. Get one big scoop, a nice old hunk. It's like an ice cream that never melts.
It's like, popsicle. Joe's face is so disapproving.
It usually is. That's what I'm used to seeing. I mean, now you guys get to experience it now too.
Marriage jokes.
Marriage.
But yeah, it's nice having you back here, Lewis.
Nice being back.
After being off for about 3 or 4 weeks. So
Yeah, wow.
We missed you.
yeah, all the Ghost of Tsushima jokes and discussion have been
know,
going on
I
without
know.
you.
Oh
so.
gosh,
I
you were
could've-
the one person that was most hyped.
Yeah.
about
I
Ghost
know.
of
And then I
Tsushima.
missed so many talks about it. So
That's okay because you're
That's
here for
okay.
the final one.
Oh, yeah.
The big one.
The best
That's
one.
right.
the best.
So yeah, let's get into it then.
What are you
Playing.
And yeah, how about this week? I'll start us off. This week, I played a game called Driftland, The Magic Revival. And with a name like that, I was very not sure to think about it because I was just, this is one of those games that I was just scrolling through my Steam's list or my Steam game list that I own.
Your
and I saw it was
steamed
on
list.
there.
It's been in there for a while, just
It has.
steaming.
Steaming mad that I haven't played it yet.
To clarify, this isn't Griftlands, right?
No, this is Driftland.
With a D. Okay.
With the D, correct.
The magic revival.
What's
The Magic
Driftlands?
Revival.
Like you're just like a thief.
Yeah, I think Griftland is a game that's coming out.
Yeah, Griftlands is like a Slay the Spire type game.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So, but Driftland though is a real-time strategy game in RTS, and it is to best describe it is so you start off and you are on a floating island, a drifting land, if you will.
Oh,
And-
I get it. This whole time I thought it was
man.
about race cars.
Yeah.
yeah, right.
like
Oh man, that
horse
would be
drifting.
great.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's
Drift
a
around
great
those
name.
corners.
But
When does Tokyo Driftland come out? That's what I want to know.
That's the
well, is
game
this
I'm
going to be like the
pre-ordering.
6th game, or is it the 3rd game, or do you have to wait for the rest of the games
okay,
to
well,
come
actually,
out
it's
to
the
figure
6th,
out?
but the timeline takes place before the 3rd.
Gotcha. Okay, okay, makes sense.
Yeah, so it kind of you got to play them in order.
But this game, so it's kind of like a classic, real-time strategy game. However, you start on your land is kind of limited, but you have all these other floating lands around you.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is you use your spells in order to drag the lands over towards you, and then you use bridges to connect your lands in order to get more space to build your buildings, to get more people, and that's the general like difference between that and a normal real-time strategy game.
That actually sounds great.
Yeah, it's actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I was just playing because, like, at least it's another game I'll knock off my Steam game list. At least I played it. But I've actually put in, I think, a good 15 hours, almost 20 hours into it. And
not bad.
it's genuinely really fun. There's a good progression system between your opening units to as you get more islands, you get more access to different resources as well.
Wait. Sorry if I missed it. Are you playing like a character, or are you just like overseeing
It's
like
an
a whole
RTS.
thing?
Yeah, it's an
Okay.
RTS. So you're just you're the overseer. You're basically
Okay.
you're
God.
I don't know, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. You're God, whatever.
Ambivalent force.
Yes.
You are the
Yeah.
you are the thing.
You're the drift god.
So these
Yeah.
islands, do they look like the classical magic floating island that's just like, green and then
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah. It's a classic top down RTS, so you can't really see underneath them, but
Okay.
you can definitely tell that they are floating. Everything else in between is all clouds and just open space, if you will.
cool.
And it has a really nice, so if you zoom out all the way, your map or what you're looking at turns into a 2D map. So you can
Ooh.
actually like scroll throughout the world a lot easier that way. And then as soon as you're done with that, you can go down to the ground level, and then it goes back into being a 3D game.
Oh, that's
So-
fun.
Oh, fun.
nice.
I like it when games do that. I think
Yeah.
ActRaiser did that a little
Yeah, I
bit.
think so. Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
way back in the day. Mm-hmm. You can kind of get real into the weeds
You
when it
made
came
that
to
up.
simulation. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm just a nerd just talking about early 90s games.
Yeah, but the game, like I said, it's a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. I did a whole bunch
Cool.
of the, I'm just going through the campaign, so it's opening it up gradually to more buildings and more other things that you can do. So
Sweet.
yeah, it's not
Well,
bad.
thanks,
It's
man.
a good indie game. Good indie game. All right, so that was my game, Driftland: The Magic Revival. And how about you, Amanda? What did you play this week?
This week I played Eat Serve Delicious 2. Eat Serve Delicious is a typing game that's cleverly disguised as a restaurant simulator. You can cook and serve food to your customers by hitting various keys in the keyboard. The faster you are at processing information and hitting the keys, the better your score and the happier your customers. I am not very good at it. But it was still a lot of fun. It's definitely like they want you to have your hands in the classic keyboard position, and I learned to type very fast without that. So this is a game that is good for me, and that's probably why it's difficult, is because I definitely want all of my hands to be shifted slightly to the left so that my fingers are on the WSAD keys.
That's fair.
Yes.
But we did play it on our stream on Monday, and it was very difficult to both play and talk to Troy. I kept having to either pause to think about what I was doing, or Troy would ask me a question and it would just be about wait a minute, I did a hot dog, and then the thing, and then a number 2, and then shift tab, and then
Which, funny enough, is the opposite of what I'm actually like in the kitchen with Mandy. Since I'm relatively new to this cooking thing. Thanks, COVID. I need all my focus and all my energy to be on not messing up or not making too much of a mess. That's
She tries talking to you, and you're like, no.
chopping onions.
even worse. I just don't hear.
Nothing gets
Real
in.
focused. Onions and garlic. That's the secret.
It was very fun seeing you play this game because I was watching on stream, and it was great seeing you come to the realization that it was a typing game. You were just going, this is a typing game.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a little more Cooking Mama or something like
Yeah,
that.
very
Note
click
Burger
heavy.
Time.
Not that I don't do research for the games that I play. I don't come to things unprepared and then instantly start them and learn them while I'm on stream. That would be unprofessional.
That would be, no one would do that.
Wildly unprofessional.
She went in cold, like a dish that was not well prepared.
Good.
I have very high standards. But the game was a lot of fun. The classic mode was cool. The tutorial was really fast. It was really easy to get into. And then the decoration mode was just silly. It was a wonderful type of silly. We didn't unlock a lot of items, but it was fun to kind of like rearrange your restaurant based on the random stuff that you got. I can definitely see how the game would have a really good loop, and I definitely think I'm going to jump back into it. I give it like 3-4 sandwiches.
Yeah.
It's good.
I've always praised this game or
Wait,
this group of games for the food looking very good. So how did the food look to you, as far as presentation wise?
I played a lot in like a chips and burger kind of like fry 'em up. So that food looked very good. I think I would like the food more if I were in a different restaurant. I'm kind of off fried food right now because I'm getting old. It's not as easy to eat. And then funny enough, when you stop eating fried food and then you try to go back to eating fried food, your body's like, no.
My body gives me the poops.
That happened to me today. But yeah.
You know, COVID has taught us a lot of things, guys.
Thank you, COVID.
We weren't allowed to get fried food for a while, and then when we could go back to getting fried food, it's like, oh, I'm gonna get some French fries, and then I ate too many potatoes, and my body was just like, now you can't stand up. Now you're just gonna feel horrible for 2 days.
Did you ever wonder what it was like to have a basketball just directly in your lower intestine? Now you do.
Now you do. There you go. Bam.
But this game was nothing like that.
Right.
That's
The
good.
opposite.
That's
fun.
good.
Yes.
All right. So that was Cook Serve Delicious 2.
Yes.
Eat, serve, delicious. I thought.
Nope.
Is it cook?
Cook?
Oh no, it's Cook Serve Delicious. I
Yeah.
wrote the name of the game down wrong.
It was. She lost that typing game too.
No, this
Yeah.
was a test for all of you,
Oh.
and you failed except for Joe.
Hey, I got it right. I'm the one that said Cook Serve Delicious.
I'm the only one that listened to her.
Yeah.
I
I
got
see
it
what you
right.
mean. I see what you mean.
Yeah,
Actually,
That was the real test.
yeah, because now thinking about it, eat, serve, delicious doesn't make sense.
Unless you are a mama bird,
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
feeding your babies.
Then I guess,
That would be eat but delicious.
There you go.
You say blah, I say serve.
Spell out blah. Just spell blah.
That sounds like a really
Delicious.
weird DJ call outs. I say eat, you say
Blah. Blah. Blah.
All right. Well, so yeah, and then that brings us to the final game, which Lewis finally gets to talk about, of which, spoiler alert, this is going to be very story heavy, very ending heavy, So if you don't want to hear about it, don't listen to it for the next, I don't know. We'll list it in the comments.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Just check in the comments.
Check the comments.
That's right. We are going into our final week talking about Ghost of Tsushima. So we'll put a little section in the description to say when we start talking about it and when we stop if you want to avoid spoilers. But we're going to be talking about the middle and the ending, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima. Tsushima. Okay, here we go. So your horse dies.
Dude.
Yo.
That when that happened, I think I was like on mic with you.
Yeah, we
and
were streaming.
You were streaming.
We were
and-
streaming live Ghost of Tsushima, but only my screen could be seen, and I was
Yeah.
past this part. But Lewis was playing his own game, but was talking to us while he was playing. And I knew he was coming up to this moment, and I knew we were live. And I'm going to do my best rendition of Lewis doing this. Oh my God. Oh my God. No. Beep, beep. You can't. Beep. Oh, beep, beep. I can't. No. Beep, beep. Ah! It was like that for about 3 minutes.
That's pretty
That was
accurate.
very eerily similar to what Joe experienced as well.
I was actually streaming it on our Saturday stream, and I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna move into Act 3 today." And I think the only thing I said for the first minute and a half of them about to take my horse, I was like, "You serious? Are you serious? You can't be serious. You're not really doing. They're not really doing this, are they?" And then the really miserable crap starts, and you're like, "I think I'm about to cry. I'm crying. I think
Aw.
those are tears. I am so upset right now. I'm not playing this game anymore."
I remember you having to go get tissues.
Is
Yep.
2020 just really bad for horses? Spoiler, Last of Us.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Shimmer.
spoiler.
man.
Shimmer doesn't make it.
Yeah.
Tsushima?
Yeah, Tsushima.
Tsushima.
And then we've been playing Red Dead. So just like we've just been playing games that are bad
And I've been
for horses.
killing a bunch of horses in Red Dead recently.
So this is an apology to all the horses listening to our podcast.
Yeah, we thought we had it bad. Yikes. Bad year for horses.
This is for the horses.
But this is a horse that they give you in the beginning of the name. You pick from 3. You get to pick the color of the horse, and it even tells you you get to name the horse, and it says pick carefully because this is the horse that'll stay with you for the rest of your journey.
It tricks you. It tricks you.
Broken promise.
No, that's not a broken promise, because the thought of the horse stays with you your entire journey.
They weren't wrong. It sucks because there are even moments like after you like liberate camps where like Jin is just like sleeping on the horse and the horse is like laying down like a dog.
Yeah. They give you little vignettes of
Yeah.
you just chilling with the horse, it nudging you sleeping on it, and it really kind of helps you endear to the character. In that game, so much of it is traversing on your horse.
Yes.
Yeah.
The horse is magical. You whistle, no matter where you are, it appears.
And the way it goes, though.
Dude.
As you're riding out of a camp, it gets hit with some arrows, but it doesn't die. You trudge on. It's fine. You're good. You got hit too. You're injured. Your horse is injured. But the trip is too long. And they show you the horse like its back leg gives out. And then the next one. And it tries to keep going. And you're like, no. And it's slowly just, so much that your horse is just trying so hard to be a good horse.
It was.
And it just can't make it.
It was my favorite part of the game.
Wait, you ride the horse to death?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is your fault, not the horse's fault.
That's what I said.
Yeah, it is.
I almost stopped playing. I was
You
straight
can't
up
just
like,
get off the horse
him.
and give him a minute.
He could have gotten off the horse. They weren't chasing him anymore. He could have gotten off.
Yeah, no, it's your fault.
I didn't play this game, so I can be judgmental.
You could, yeah.
It was also like you're in the freezing cold, like tundra level of how cold it is. So that probably helped the horse not lose as much blood because it still had all the arrows in it.
Yeah.
Right.
But
It's a little numb.
Oh,
It's not right.
It was dying anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that as soon as that horse got hit the way it did, it was going to die. It was just trying to get you as far away from danger as possible as it
That's
could.
sad.
But this led into the third act of the game, which is the snowy act. How'd you guys like the final act of the game? We talked about the first two acts pretty extensively in the last two episodes, so head back to those if you want to hear our thoughts. Lewis, what do you think about the third act of this game?
I mean, I liked the snowy aspect of it. It was definitely the shortest act, the quickest, but it was still enjoyable. And I don't know, I actually loved it, especially because I made sure to dress in white. And me dressing in white along with the snow was kind of beautiful.
And your new horse.
And the new horse.
I think we all picked white.
I picked white.
As the new horse.
I picked white. All I kept thinking was pale horse. I'm like, I am death. I am death. That's all I kept thinking.
Oh, because you learned something about death in Japan, or Joe told you
from
something?
Joe.
What was it?
That white signifies death,
Not black.
not black, as it does here, but white. Yeah.
Wow, you were very scary then.
I was the ghost of
Yes, you
Tsushima.
And that's actually a nice flavor for Act 3 because since everything is white, you went through this entire game. Act 1 and 2 was very colorful, very vibrant, and then you get to the third act, and after this traumatizing experience where you betray your uncle and you poison all these Mongols, you introduce the idea of poison to your enemies, and they poison innocent villagers and children. Mass destruction.
Death is running rampant.
Your horse has died. There is a nice ongoing theme of death, and then you're there looking at nothing but a white tundra the whole time. So there's very intentional, very interesting choices, I thought, with that final
Definitely
act.
very cinematic choices.
It spurned me to kind of go off the rails because I was so honorable in the first two acts that when I got there, I had nothing left, and not just story wise, but even game wise. I'd maxed out my character. I collected everything I needed.
Yeah.
I just had nothing else to do except to finish the fight. So it worked for me. The narrative and the gameplay worked for me even in that shorter act.
Yeah,
definitely.
And how about you, Joe? Did you how was the third act for you?
I felt like it was very short. I do agree. If I didn't go back and do not even go back, but just go do photo mode in the other two areas for a while, I probably would have burned through it much quicker than I did. I also had maxed my character out. However, I will say I didn't appreciate that anywhere. I love color theory, so I thought it was a beautiful way to. The slate is clean. You play how you're meant to play now. You just went through losing everything, so you have. It's not just the absence of color. It's just here's your life. You color it however you desire to.
I like that blank state.
Yeah, and I thought it was very I think the whole third act was moving, but it was all right. I'm just gonna say I was playing it on lethal mode and it was really easy. Okay, just going from Act 1 to Act 2, the upgrade to the villains was insane. I could not beat them when I got into the Act 2 area until I had kind of got my stuff together.
It was those
and
Ronin.
Actually paid attention. It really was. And then Act 3, however. I didn't kill anyone. I didn't assassinate almost anybody unless you had to because I was like, screw it, let's do this. And I just walk into an area and fight. And if I lost the first time, that's fine. I'd go back in and then now they're all obliterated. If it's not a spear dude, I didn't have a problem. It really, I don't understand how the end of the game was so short compared to how long Act 2 was. It almost bothered me. And finishing everyone's story, I was like, why is this so short? I spent so much time with these characters, and now their ending is so just quick. But I still loved it. Don't get me wrong. I still loved it.
What was interesting for me is I hadn't done a lot of the collecting stuff until the third act. So by the time I got to third act, it was actually probably a little artificially padded out because that's when I did all of my collecting thing, all the haikus, the springs, and all of that. So I kind of stewed on some of these tales and stories a little longer, which I didn't realize, but I think I guess it probably helped fill in that part.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the story kind of leads up to the very ending moment where you are the ghost. You have committed atrocities in order to save your land.
Yep.
You've broken your code as a samurai. You've broken the law as a samurai. And when it comes down to it, your uncle, who you saved in the first act, comes up to you and is like, "Hey man, I love you, but you broke the law, and I'm ordered to take your head, or to you gotta answer for all the crime."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Okay, let's do this." And I don't want to fight, and it's very sad. And neither of you want to do this. You write a haiku about it before you fight your uncle.
Legit.
And then you face off, you fight him, you beat him, and then a choice comes up.
So do you both write a haiku? You write a haiku, and then he writes a haiku, and then whoever's haiku is better wins?
It's a haiku off.
A haiku battle.
Haiku battle.
You read his haiku, and you're like, oh.
My haiku is better. Oh, that's 6 syllables. Damn it. Your haiku sucks. There we go.
My haiku is better. It's only 5 seconds.
Oh, we'll look at it. We'll count it later.
We'll look it up later.
That final fight also took place in the most beautiful area.
Yes.
I think I've seen in the game.
It's a graveyard with a tree with these bright red leaves cascading down.
Yeah, just constantly falling, like an immortal tree.
Did you guys go to that area before the final fight?
You went there to visit your father in the second act.
Yeah, I went there on missions, but I never just went there to take pictures.
And to talk to Yuriko, your old nanny.
I should have gone there
I-
to take pictures.
I went insane in that area and spent probably like 4 hours just taking pictures in it. So when they told you where you were going, I was like, "Oh, we're gonna go to where that maple tree is in the cherry blossoms."
A good place to end the game.
Yeah.
So you fight your uncle in a beautiful duel, and you win. And for the first time in the game, it gives you a game-altering decision.
Yep, for the first time.
Your uncle
first
is on
and last.
his knees. Your uncle looks at you and says, "Do me the honor, take my life, finish this." And on the screen, you get spare him or kill him. Joe, tell me about that. Tell me about that moment.
I spared him. I couldn't take his life because I spent the whole game not wanting to take life that didn't need to be taken.
Okay.
So like I couldn't do it. I looked at him and I was like, even though it's dishonorable to not kill him, I'm already filled with dishonor. My clan has been disbanded. My name means nothing. I will have nothing to me. I can, you know what? I can afford to have nothing a little bit more than, and he can live and hopefully train someone and train people to be better.
There you go. Okay.
Nice.
And how did that transpire in the game?
So he's on his knees. The sun is setting behind him. It's beautiful in this maple tree filled cherry blossom area. Their sun is flowing down, and it says on the left, "Spare him," and it says on the right, "Kill him." Press a button, you decide. And when you decide, I desperately want to know what you guys did, because I was like, I probably should kill him. I probably should, because then I could survive.
Right.
No one will come after me if I kill him. But
Right. So Lewis, what'd you do?
I chose to kill him. I decided to give him the honor of killing him.
And what were your reasons?
I think, as the character, his honor was technically gone, but his uncle still had honor, and he wanted to not take that honor away from him by essentially just being like, "Oh, you're not worth killing," even though that wouldn't be his reason. That's how his uncle would take it. So I decided to let him live, and I'm glad I did, purely for a costume choice.
That's right. You do get different costume based on what you do.
Yes.
what did you get? Wait, no, Troy. What did you choose?
My gut chose to spare him.
But your conscience.
But your fingers.
In my retcon, I killed him. I think I prefer him dying because I beat it on hard, and then I went back and did it on lethal because I wanted to say that I finished that fight on lethal, and I killed him the second time. I wanted to spare him the first time because I did understand that we are questioning what honor is, and it's no longer the idea of black and white. This is honorable, this is not. It's all in the gray area. So when you spare him after your uncle calls you dishonorable, and you're just like, you're right, I have no honor. I'm not going to kill my family. It just shows you that honor is subjective, and it's almost more honorable to not take the easy route and kill him in a certain way. It's easier to let you live and us repair this relationship or attempt to.
Right. It was better not to kill him, but make him change, which was harder on him, but maybe better in the long run.
Exactly. But when I went back and did it on Lethal and I killed him, I was like, oh, this is the end of a samurai movie. If this was a samurai movie for real, it ends with your uncle going down because he looks at you with so much love and pride and just says, like, I will see you soon. And you guys finally repair that relationship in that moment. And it's so beautiful.
Oh, because what he says, he literally says, find me.
Yes.
In the next life.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, that's nice.
So I wish that I killed him in my first playthrough. Not just for that beautiful moment, but also because you get a sick white outfit.
Hell yeah. Super Ghost.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So when I finished it and I turned everything off that night, I was like, man, I really want to know what Troy and Lewis did. And then I said, I think Troy probably would have spared him. And then Brian goes, yeah, Lewis hasn't finished yet. I'm like, he's going to kill him. And Brian's like, really? I'm like, yeah, because Lewis will be probably the only one of us that would be like, no, like you have to finish it the way it's supposed to be finished. This is it.
Yeah.
Like, Troy, I think, will have a heart like me. But now I'm thinking I made the bad choice because I'm the only person who spared him and refused to go back and change that because I didn't want to know because I made my choice.
Yep, you committed.
Troy made both choices, which is the most Troy of choices.
It is definitely the most Troy of choices.
But do you have both outfits now? Because I only have one.
I have two separate saves. And let me tell you, if you guys platinum the game, you get a sick new outfit for your ghost outfit. It's like translucent and like shiny red and teal. It's very Taste of Dragons teal.
Ooh.
I love that one. That's the one I wear now outside of the traveler's outfit, which I don't need to wear anymore.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the honest truth is, I will never get that outfit.
So we've gotten a lot of our thoughts. I would love to finish just on your general final thoughts of the game, Lewis.
General final thoughts. Yeah. Okay. I thought overall, visually specifically, the game is beautiful. It's fantastic. They obviously did their in-depth research photography specifically for this game, and the fighting mechanics with the different sword fighting styles was amazing. The story was not like the craziest, most different thing, but it was definitely so interesting.
But how many sandwiches would you give the game out of 5 sandwich on a scale of 1 to 5 sandwiches with 5 being the best? How many sandwiches?
I would say 3.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
Yeah.
It's a mediocre game. It's a mediocre sandwich.
Only because of...
Because you played Red Dead this week and you remembered what Red Dead was like?
No, because I played Last of Us Part 2. And I'm sorry. It's like, after that, I'm sorry if you go down from there.
This is a 4 out of 5 for me. Yeah.
Joe, how many sandwiches?
4.5 sandwiches out of 5 for me.
Ooh,
all right.
Nice.
It's near, for me,
Bring
the
in the half
style of
sandwich.
game it is near perfect to me because I like this kind of story.
Yeah.
I like this
Yeah.
guy, and the
And
photo
the
mode,
visuals.
and the visuals broke the game for me.
The photo mode is a 5 out of 5 by itself.
Yeah.
I want to alter it to 3.5 now because that photo mode really did it for me.
You're allowed to.
all right.
I've never taken this many screenshots in a video game.
Never.
You just added, like you looked at your sandwich and you were like, meh, and you added a few more
Yeah,
pieces of meat
exactly.
on it.
That was my exact thought.
Like,
And it's funny because 3.5, because like certain weird mechanics of faces just seemed weird to me sometimes in the game. It just seemed a little.
Yeah. There's definitely there's some room for improvement there.
Yeah, for sure, but still a great game.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well, that's
indeed.
awesome. Well, that's I think that will do it for Ghost of Tsushima. This will be the last week we're talking about it, right, guys?
Unless one of us makes some really great photos.
Or until the DLC comes out. Ghost of Tsushima 2077.
I would play
Yes.
that game. I would play that.
He wakes up in the future.
Where am I?
Oh, wait, Samurai Jack?
Whoa.
Aku.
All right, so cool. That'll do it for our game segment. Now it brings us to our news.
News.
And this week we're gonna start off with Ninja, the popular streamer who left Mixer, or I'm sorry, Mixer left him. He's been streaming on YouTube recently, but this week he actually returned to Twitch and had an average of 70,000 viewers over his, I think it was like 9 hours that he was streaming. And it was like a last-minute decision, and he's still not sure where he's going to be streaming going forward. But he did boast afterwards that he made affiliate, so he's super happy with that.
That's very funny. So he had to start over.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Wow.
He pretty much made Twitch what it is today.
And then he had to start from
And
nothing.
then he went to Mixer, and then he went to YouTube, and now he's back to Twitch. He had to start over. Gosh, we're slacking, y'all.
Yeah, he's still not sure where he's going to end up, but he was just like, you know what? Let's just stream on Twitch. Why not?
Can we, as new streamers, hop around too, and hopefully it'll work like that? Can we just go over to? Can we go to YouTube next, and then do Facebook game streaming, and then come back to Twitch? Maybe
We can do them all at the same time.
What?
Could just do all at the same time.
We
yeah.
should.
We should. That's not a terrible idea. And then also ninjing his way back, Dr. Disrespect returned to streaming to over 500,000 people on YouTube. He put up a 24-hour just blank stream beforehand, and then he went live after 24 hours and
Did
started
people know
streaming
he was
like
going to
nothing
go live,
happened.
or it was just like watch and hope something
Wait,
happens?
was
It
he
was just
allowed
that-
to come back?
It's on YouTube, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
not Twitch.
Oh, okay, that's why.
So he's during the actual stream, he started talking about it, but he still has not stated why he was banned from Twitch. Though he did state that his lawyers are handling it, and he didn't think whatever it was warranted the Twitch ban.
Okay.
So we still don't know what it is
Was it
because
blackface?
lawyers.
Was he in blackface?
Oh, God.
Yeah, right.
Possibly.
Did he do a stream in blackface? Oh, no.
So he has a link to what he calls the Champions Club, which is people can pay $5 a month in order to be part of it. And just during his first stream, I think he had over 15,000 people sign up for it.
Okay.
So making the richer richer. Good job, guys. But also on rocky grounds, Rocksteady, makers of Batman Arkham series, announced their next title will be based on the Suicide Squad. And we'll find out more details during the DC Fandom on August 22nd.
Grumble,
So-
grumble, grumble. It should have been Harry Potter. Grumble, grumble.
I know.
Yeah.
I know we're not supposed to be super excited about leaks, but I'm really super excited about that leak.
Curious about
I know J.K. Rowling's in a thing right now. I'm hoping that's why they didn't announce it. Is they're like, hey, can
Yeah,
you just
fair
stop
enough.
posting on Twitter so we can release this content?
Just go ahead and just
Could you
remove
just,
yourself
like-
from this fiction that we love.
Stop ruining
yeah.
things. Thanks.
Yeah, I think the leading theory is that it's going to be Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, if I remember correctly.
Okay, that sounds
Oh,
awesome.
whoa.
That's the leading
That sounds
theory.
great.
Yeah.
You know what? I like Harley Quinn. I like Deadshot. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's see.
why not?
I'm curious to see how they do it.
They
Agreed,
did well with
agreed.
the other Batman games.
Yeah,
So
but
yeah.
Suicide
That's true.
Squad is a group as opposed to
maybe
just
it's
Batman.
multiplayer.
That'd
Can
be
I be
cool.
the Harley Quinn to your
to my
Deadshot?
to my Deadshot.
As long as Killer Croc's in it, I'm fine. That's all I need.
All
I
right,
need Killer
Brian's
Croc.
Killer Croc. Y'all better get in on this and get dibs on your Suicide Squad members.
I want to be that lame guy that climbs walls that dies 15 minutes into the film. I want to be him.
Done.
No
I don't know
problem.
who that is.
Neither do I.
Nobody
That's
does.
That's okay.
And there was a scare with an executive order earlier this week related to Tencent, the owners of Riot Games, the people who had a 40% stake in Epic and a minority stake in like pretty much everything else in the gaming world.
That's the TikTok people.
Yeah.
No.
No, that's not the TikTok.
Oh, my bad.
it was a part of the same executive order. And it
Oh, okay.
seemed as though the White House banned any business dealings with any company in relation to them, which, as I just mentioned, is a lot of things. So it was a pretty hectic day and a half where people didn't know what was going on. But it was later clarified that it was only related to WeChat, a chatting app that Tencent owns.
Okay.
So
So for a brief moment, our illustrious president made a comment that made it sound like they were going to stop doing business with the largest video game organization in the world.
Yikes.
Yes.
Oof.
Oh, and it was actually in the executive order as well. Like, if you've read all the, like, it was very ambiguous, which is why people didn't know what was going to be going on.
According to the internet, Tencent owns $136 billion of assets, of video game assets.
Wow.
If you compare that to Disney, Disney owns $190 billion. So they're like right behind Disney. That's how big they are.
Oh my
And the
gosh.
idea of President Trump being like, yeah, we're not going to do business with them anymore. And you were like, what?
Excuse me?
Mistakes?
What?
Yeah.
Get off my epic Fortnite skins, man. Mr. Unpeely is not happy about this.
Troy just thinks he's angry at TikTok.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's fair.
yeah.
It's fair.
Angry at Gen Z.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then also unexpected is some news coming from Nintendo. They released their best-selling Switch games list, and as of June 30th, Animal Crossing has sold 22.4 million copies,
Yikes.
which only puts them behind Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as far as total units sold,
Of
which means
all
they've
time.
beat out. Yeah, which means they've beat out Breath of the Wild, Smash Brothers, like anything
Wow.
else
In 4 months.
in 4 months.
Just damn.
I heard they sold more copies than Breath of the Wild and Smash Brothers combined so far.
Yeah. That is very impressive. I mean,
Yes.
Animal Crossing is the game of the year.
It's the
yeah.
game of the quarantine.
I was about to say, I'm like, it's the game of quarantine. It's the quarantine mascot.
Just Tom Nook.
Yeah.
What if Tom Nook started the quarantine?
I believe, personally, I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe only beat it because it was included in the Switch bundle for like a full year or two. So they're probably counting that as well. I don't
Yeah,
know if
probably.
they are, but I think they probably are.
Oh, give it one more month.
Yeah.
Just one more.
Yeah, it'll be up there.
Yeah, it'll be. But just the fact that it's, the second highest selling of all of Switch in just 4 months is crazy.
Manda's mom has Animal Crossing.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
got a
Really?
Switch to play Animal
Yeah.
Crossing, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like that's the reach of this game.
Yeah.
That's real.
She hasn't played a video game since I was 9, and
Oh,
she
wow.
owns Animal Crossing.
That's awesome. That's
I
awesome.
mean, yeah.
Got a Switch and everything for it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
She only got a Switch Lite, but it's okay.
I mean, still.
Hey, the fact that she was able to find one is pretty good.
Oh, honestly, I've been looking for one, and yeah. She's,
She got it on QVC, just for
Oh, well.
anyone out there.
Well, there it
Search
is.
it.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That's very mom.
Yes.
level. And then the Sony State of Play happened, and Troy has all the details.
Yeah, so State of Play was last Thursday, and it was pretty fun. They definitely set expectations appropriately. It was going to be indie games and VR games for the PlayStation 4 and a little bit of content for PS5. It's a really smart move that Xbox kind of messed up when they were like, this is going to be the biggest, thing ever. And then it was just like indie games, previous State of Play.
yeah.
So PlayStation set the expectations a little bit lower, and it really paid off. Some highlights from this: the new Crash Bandicoot game. It's About Time debuted. It looks exactly like a Crash game, so it looks fun. 2D, behind the back. You can play as like different characters. I didn't see really any elements of them messing with time travel, but I'm sure that'll get shown a little more later. Hitman is going into VR. So first-person VR Hitman, where you're literally
Really?
taking the string and putting it around people's necks.
It's a little sad because part of Hitman is you dressing up in the costumes.
That
and
is
in
a-
first person, you only see your hands. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit of
I
a
wonder
loss,
if you
but-
have like a cowl or something, or maybe there's like a bunch of mirrors everywhere.
You have a VR, right?
We do
Maybe
have a
your tie like whips in the wind in front of you, like maybe it hits you in the face.
You put on glasses.
yeah.
You have a VR. When times
do.
get better, I want to play it.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool because they also showed more footage of the Vader VR.
Oh, wow, nice.
And it's not just you're playing Vader; you're playing as someone who's also going up against Vader. So
Oh, okay.
I'm a little
interesting.
skeptical about that. You got your lightsaber and stuff, and I just don't trust those games right now in VR. I'm always afraid it's not going to be like how I want it to be.
Also, like, leave Vader alone. There are more than one Sith in the galaxy. Come on, man. Pick a different Sith.
You're not going to win that fight.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
Because we know how he dies.
Yeah.
So we know that you lose.
Yeah. So what's the
Yeah,
point?
honestly, anything that has to do with Vader, I'm like, okay.
I
And
think at some point you are Vader, so I think it kind of maybe goes back A little back
Still
and
know
forth there.
Still know how he does.
Yeah. They showed more Spelunky 2. They had the developer really go deep on Spelunky 2. Awesome game. One of the best games of the last generation, in my opinion, and many others. So Spelunky 2 looks great. It's just more of the same and even better. Multiplayer is going to be added, online multiplayer, which is a big deal. So that'll be great. They also debuted a game called Aeon Must Die, which was probably one of the highlights that I saw. It looked like a 2D fighting game, but it was also like a beat 'em up.
It was beautiful.
It was
too.
pixelated, kind of like a Tron type art style, and it looked very interesting.
Nice.
Only to find out that after the state of play, apparently the executive that was in charge of that game fired the developers, and without their consent took the footage and sent it to Sony State of Play.
Whoa.
Anyway, it's not necessarily that it's theirs or not theirs, but there is a legal there was a legal
There's a legal dispute
battle
around the IP
over it right
right
now.
now.
So it shouldn't be taken and used for anything right now until
Right.
it's sussed out where it lands.
Right.
But they didn't care, and they sent it on to Sony, and Sony aired it. So
Wow.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
they weren't paying folks, and people
Yes.
did work, and then
Jesus.
you're supposed to get a sign up from development before you release anything.
Yeah, of
they
course.
didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It's just
Nope.
it's really complicated right now.
So
That's
the
messed
developers
up.
pretty much outed them, and they had a whole Dropbox with all their claims being kind of second or backed up, so everyone could see everything about this case and be like, yeah, look, this is what they did. So what's up?
yeah. Fine, release our trailer. Here's all the other things you did.
Yeah.
Everyone can just see it now.
So
Yeah.
there's some good stories on that if you want to go a little deeper, but it's kind of weird and kind of sad for the developers of that game. And also, it looked like a great game, and I don't think it's gonna come out anytime soon. Now that
Doesn't
I
seem
know
like
that.
it. No.
But overall, it was a pretty cool state of play. A nice little jolt to your video game week.
Zip zap.
Nice.
Yeah.
Zip zap.
That's cool. That's cool. And then now to end on a good note for the last piece of news, World of Warcraft honored Byron Reckful Bernstein, who committed suicide earlier this year that we've talked about before. So they honored him with an in-game PC actually named Reckful. And it's not just any PC, but it's a rogue trainer that you can learn from inside the game.
Oh wow.
So it's this is actually the second NPC based off of him in the game. But the other one was done while he was still alive. And
Right.
the thing that I thought that was actually the best about it is you go up to the trainer and, you can learn it and everything else like that. But when you can actually say another voice line to him. So they actually have it so that you can tell the NPC, it was good seeing you again.
Wow, that's really sad.
Which is,
But-
but it's really powerful to me. I like
Yeah.
It's a way
the
of
fact that
immortalizing him.
somebody that you've known forever or that you've seen for a very
Yeah.
long time, you
It's
can
like,
see them in game and actually tell them that it was nice seeing them again, which is
It's
I
like
think
a
that's really
living-
awesome.
It's like a living tombstone.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that I think that was a nice little fitting bit of last news. So good for Blizzard and good for Reckful. But now, time for the other best bit of news. It's gonna be Turnip for what?
Turnip for what?
And this week is with Joe from Katsusando.
Welcome to another lucky week in Animal Crossing. This week brought us a fantastic art fabricating fox, an unlucky trip, and a firecracker of a good time. Red's treasure trawler has been resurfacing on many islands as of the new update. Just be careful to check those fine art pieces for wet paint and fraudulent fabrications before you buy them. A new piece of headgear has been all the buzz lately. Striking rocks has a 1% chance of chipping off a gold nugget. That gold nugget could be the lucky DIY for a King Tut mask. However, this heavy headgear is quite unlucky. Be careful while running in this large headpiece, for you will surely trip and fall. How unlucky indeed. The summer fireworks festivities have begun. Every Sunday in August, a fireworks show will be visible from anywhere in your island. Red will be set up as well, selling raffle tickets for fun prizes for a sparkling, popping good time. Be sure to visit Isabel each week to receive a special head bopper to celebrate. And now, on to the turnips. This week, as reported by the Sow Jones. For the second week in a row, the market opened selling lower at 90 bells, but rose to a high of 539 by the end of the week. And that's it for now. This is Joe from Katsusando, reminding you to look up for the shooting stars, watch your step to avoid pitfalls, and always, always save your rusted parts. Back to you, Dragons.
Turnip for what?
Thank you for that, Joe. And so yeah, that'll do it for the news segment. But now that brings us to a segment we haven't done in a little while. I think it's finally time that we did it. This is Convoluted Games in 2 minutes.
Convoluted games in 2 minutes.
And this is a segment. I think this is our fourth time doing it, third or fourth time, where we attempt to explain a very complicated or convoluted story from a video game in 2 minutes. And yeah, we've had some pretty good gems in the past.
This is the most nerve-wracking segment we ever do. I hate it and I love it.
We don't do it very much because it's a lot of work, but it is kind of the best.
It's like middle school for me.
So Troy, would you like to?
Why do I always fall for that?
You do it to yourself, man.
All right,
You do it to yourself.
have one request. Manny's going to be taking the timer. Can you give me like a signal when I have like 20 seconds left?
Yes, I can.
All right.
Do me that justice, please.
All right, you want to tell us what game you're going to be talking about before I
say what game you do, and then
I'll hit it.
Hit the timer. Okay. I will be explaining the story of The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Okay, in the beginning of time, there are 3 goddesses. There is Din, who's the goddess of power and land. There is Nehru, the goddess of wisdom and crap. And then there is Pharaoh, the goddess of courage. They all went together. They made land. And then there was a goddess named Hylia, who was like going to be the liaison between the goddesses and the people that lived on there. And then there was a horrible person named Demise. Demise came out and was like, I want all the power. Give me the power. And started ravaging the land. And then Hylia was like, oh gosh, I got to save all the humans. So she took the humans, she put them in the sky, and then it had a huge battle with Demise. Demise went down, but then all the humans were trapped in the sky, and they were there in the sky for so long they forgot that there were even people on the ground. There was anything on the ground. One day, a knight named Link was getting his badge, and he finally got his badge and went on a nice joyous ride with his friend Zelda. And while she was there, a dark tornado came up and took Zelda and threw her off the island into the ground below. And Link's like, no, Zelda. Went down there and was like, hey, what's up? Down there, he realized that, oh my gosh, there's a sword that has a spirit in it, and it's going to help me find Zelda. He finds Zelda to find that Zelda's being trying to be used in order to resurrect Demise that was built in the past, or died in the past. But by doing that, she meets Impa, and Impa it's like a guardian. It's like, hey, I'm going to open up this time gate. We're going to go and get out of here. And Link's like, go ahead. They go back there and they find out that Demise never really got beaten by Hylia. Hylia just trapped him and then used a reincarnation of herself, which is actually Zelda, and put her in a crystal so that she can have power to keep Demise imprisoned. So Link is back in the present right now, beats Demise with the Triforce or with the Z, and is like, get out of here. And then unfortunately, an evil sorcerer named Girahim is like, no, Demise is my friend. And he's like, I'm going to go in the past and take him and revive him from there. And Link's like, no, that's the past. I got to get to the past now. I'm in the present. So he does all these like little quests and things to invigorate his sword, which has a spirit in it. And turns out the sword gets imbued into be the master sword of legend. And with that, he's used it to open up the time gate. And then he goes back in the past. He beats Demise. He's like, get out of here. And Zelda's like, thanks for you. It turns out that Zelda was actually in this crystal the whole time. And it's actually in the present as well at that. So he beats Demise, and Demise is like, yeah, before I die, I'm going to curse you and all of your reincarnations that will always fight each other. I may die now, but I'm going to be alive later. And that is how the entire timeline of Zelda was created.
Time.
Nicely done.
That was awesome.
I did it. That's the
You
first
actually
time
had
I've
a chance
done
to
it.
breathe at the very end.
Gosh.
Good stuff.
I'm proud and also ashamed that I finished.
Yeah.
Yay! Congratulations.
You did it. You did it.
Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, by the way, we will be spoiling every single one of these games that we're going to be
If it
talking
makes
about.
sense.
Yeah, exactly. That is a very good point. So, Manda, would you like to go next?
Sure. Yes, I will. All right. So in very traditional Manda fashion, I'm both going to be talking about a game and also kind of remembering the game because I'm not the best at recalling things after they happen just in general. But I am going to be talking about Dark Cloud 2. Okay, so in Dark Cloud 2, you play as Max. He's a boy who's living in an isolated town called Palm Brinks. He likes inventing things, and for his birthday, he gets this mysterious red stone that he doesn't know what it does. So he gets this stone, and then he goes to the circus, and then while he's at the circus, he overhears like that bad things are happening in the world, and then he's attacked by clowns. He's attacked by this large clown spider monster, and I mean, as you do, he has to escape town. So he goes down into the sewers where his friend Donnie lives. Donnie's like a hobo, but he lives like below ground, and they're like, hey, we need to get out of these sewers. So they travel through the sewers really fast after Donnie gives him a gun, And then when they get outside of the sewers, the train is working again. The train wasn't working before because, unbeknownst to Max, is none of the rest of the world exists anymore. He's been in town and the rest of the world was destroyed, but no one's telling them. So he has to go to this forest area where there's these gnomes that are kind of drunk on juice, and he finds this lady Monica who's from the future, and she came back into the past to help recreate the world that's destroyed by this guy named Griffin. He destroyed it for reasons. And you fight a moth who's also a lady, and then you return the lady back to the gnomes, who are so grateful that they tell you that the next place you need to go to is this canyon area. You go through the canyon area and you want to revive these sages, but one of the little sages is sick, so you have to cure this like sick girl in order to move to the next area, which is where the Loch Ness Monster is. And then after you save the Loch Ness Monster, who's actually kind of good, you go to a volcano where there's this giant weapon, and you fight this guy named Gaspard. He's on an airship. And then after you go through that area, you have to go through all of the previous areas again in that kind of like fetch quest kind of thing, like, hey, go back and talk to Nessie again. And you have to like upgrade your trains so that you can go into the future and fight Griffin, and then you find out that he's kind of been doing it for good reasons. And then the character Monica that you found in the forest area is gone, but you end the game and everyone is safe except for the bonus level, which is also kind of cool.
All right, and that's
Time.
2 minutes.
I think I fell off after drunk on juice.
I heard gnomes drunk on juice, and I was like,
I couldn't get my mind off of it.
what?
Brian's played it. It made
Yeah.
some sense.
Yeah.
And just the beginning, clown spider?
They were too busy being drunk on gnomes that were drunk on juice. That's what it was. They didn't
Sipping on
understand.
gnomes and juice.
All right, I will go next. So Amanda did Dark Cloud 2, which is a level 5 game. I did another level 5 game that was released immediately after this. And my game is Rogue Galaxy. So Rogue Galaxy, you start off, your main character is Jaster Rogue, who is, your average teenager who's living in space on a desert planet. You know how it is. And so he's going around and so he's like killing some monsters that are inside the town because they somehow got inside the town. And while he's doing it, a guy shows up called the Desert Claw. And so the Desert Claw helps you round up some of these other monsters. And then he sees some other people and he goes, I gotta go. And he somehow, for some unknown reason, gives you his sword, which is one of the legendary 7-star swords called the Desert Seeker. And you don't know for the reason why at the time, but you find out later in the game that the Desert Claw is actually your dad. So your dad, he met your mom while he was wandering the desert of this planet. And your mom, which you find out later as well, is related to the Star King, who is the ruler of the galaxy from 50,000 years in the past. And the people who are descendants of the Star King, though, have a special power that they can pretty much do whatever they want for the most part. So he gets mistaken for the Desert Claw because he has the Desert Claw sword, and so he gets brought aboard a ship called the Dorganark. And on the Dorganark is another person called Kasala. And Kasala, unbeknownst to her at the time, but you find out later, is actually from a planet called Mariglen, also known as Eden, which is where everybody's trying to go to. But because everybody thinks that Eden has a lot of treasure, so that's like what all the pirates are going after. But unbeknownst to them, though, is that Eden/Mariglen has been closed off from the rest of the world for 10,000 years because there's an existential threat to the galaxy called Rune, which is brought about by another creature called the Mother. And her mother, Kasala's mom, is also the queen
5.
of Mariglen.
4.
So
3.
And that's all I can explain because there's a lot more.
That felt like 2 hours. I was looking at Mandy like that had to be 2 minutes. That had to be what is happening to time right now. Holy crap.
So I both explained only the beginning of the game and the very end of the game. That's all I explained.
Cool.
In the middle, you fight a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and only 2 of the 7 characters that are in that game, by the way.
There's also a talking cat.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's awesome.
All right.
Who's first mate on the ship? He's awesome. So, Joe, would you like to go next?
Sure. I haven't played any of these games in like 8 years or something like that.
All right.
But I will be talking about the first 18 years of the Kirby adventures. First off, we're going to start in a very important place called Planet Popstar. There is a country there called Dreamland. Kirby lives in the Dreamland. King Dedede, a very large, very well-dressed, royally looking penguin, decides he's going to steal everybody's food and have a giant midnight snack. In the first game, Kirby decides he's just not cool with that. He's going to steal all the food back from Dedede, beat the crap out of all his friends, and then redistribute the food. No matter what anyone says, he didn't eat all that food. He does suck. He doesn't eat everything. So then we move on to a very interesting game called Kirby's Adventure. In this game, a thing called Nightmare shows up. It is just a blob of nothingness. It shows up and it poisons the fountain of dreams and gives everybody bad dreams and makes it so that nobody in Dreamland can have peace. So King Dedede decides, I'm going to steal the Star Rod and I'm going to go after this dude. He gets possessed. Kirby beats the crap out of him, then chooses to use his possessed body and beats the crap out of Nightmare instead, putting the Star Rod back where it goes, giving everyone peaceful dreams, and hooray. It also brings us to another story, which is in Kirby's Dream Land 2, and that's when you get the chance to ride Rick the hamster. It doesn't matter what else happens in this game. That's the best thing that happens in the game. But that being said, Kirby meets Meta Knight, and he decides he's gonna try and stop this bad thing from happening. A dark matter shows up, re-triggers Nightmare. Nightmare then pops back in and decides it's going to corrupt all of the things and create its own planet called Dark Star. And Kirby sees him. Him and Dedede are like friends, so they're like, hey, let's go beat this guy up together. They do. It's awesome. But then they're not really friends. There's an even worse bad guy that makes even worse dark matter in Darkstar named Zero. And Zero decides he's going to go to this one place where, oh crap, I can't remember the name of the place. Oh no.
Kirby Land.
Oh, no.
Dreamland.
It's not. No, it's
Detroit.
You know what? It's a place. It's another planet. He goes there and he steals their things. And then he decides he's going to possess and corrupt all of their shards, their crystal shards. And then 74 of the shards pop out to everywhere else. You get different powers. You can combo everything.
3.
And you beat the crap out of him with the love stick.
End time.
That's actually the end. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I just learned. I think King Dedede is actually the main character of Kirby.
He kind of is.
And what was the name of that
That's
stick?
awesome.
The love stick. You're
the
welcome.
love stick. All right.
The
So
love
you
Yeah.
have to wear the glove in order to use the love stick.
No, it is the love stick. You get it from a really cute character named Ribbon who lives in Ripple Star. That's the name of the place, Ripple Star.
Ripple Star.
Yeah.
Star.
Yeah. The name Zero.
There's no dirty
Dark
joke I can make
Matter,
about that.
Nightmare.
No.
All of those names keep getting brought up as if they are new things in each game, and then you find out there's something else, which really drove me insane while I was thinking about this.
They wouldn't be Convoluted Game Story if someone didn't forget a word and then like lose 5 crucial
Yeah.
seconds being like,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
no, no, it's in my
Yeah.
head, it's in my head, it's in my head.
All right,
Yeah.
Lewis, I'm ready for yours. Tell us what game you're going to be talking about.
I'll also be doing it off of memory.
Like me.
Yes. But I mean, damn, you have like some photographic memory. Okay. This is one of my favorite games. It is the first Kingdom Hearts. Okay, so Kingdom Hearts is about, well, it starts with 3 kids on a group of islands called Destiny Islands, and they're just playing around and playing sword fight and hide and seek and all this stuff. And then one day, the character Sora, the character that you play as, he wanders into a cave, and there is a weird hooded figure in there that greets you. And you're like, oh my god, who is this hooded figure? And he's like telling you some kind of destiny, like you will unlock the Kingdom of Hearts or something weird like that. I don't really remember. And then all of a sudden, when Sora goes to sleep, all of a sudden he's in this weird like stained glass like weird void, and like he's learning different things about wisdom and heart and courage and all this stuff. And then when he comes out of that, the entire island is consumed in darkness. And then he tries to find his friends, but all his friends are gone, and the island is disappearing. And then all of a sudden, he gets a keyblade that pops out of his chest.
Ew.
And then he starts to fight Heartless, which are like these weird black gremlins. And then he gets consumed by the darkness, and then he disappears. And then jump to, we're at a castle. Mickey Mouse, who used to rule the castle, has left to go fight the darkness. And then he sends Goofy and Donald to go find the key to save all the worlds in this multiverse that exists. And then so they go off in a gummy ship, and then they go to this place called Traverse Town, which Sora is also there, and you run into people from Final Fantasy VII for some reason. And then they group up, and then they start to fight the other worlds and try to find the Princesses of Hearts, which have been kidnapped by other groups of villains who will unlock Kingdom Hearts. And then they finally make it to this big place where they fight off with big villains and damn it, what's her name? Maleficent. Oh my God, no. Maleficent. They try to fight, and then all of a sudden Sora, in the midst of his big fight, he turns into an Heartless. He loses his heart, but then he gains his heart back. And then finally, they make it to Kingdom Hearts, and then this character, Ansem, is trying to unlock it, and he thinks it's filled with darkness. He unlocks it, and it's filled with pure light, and then he dies. And then Sora and Mickey Mouse lock the door with their Keyblades. They close it, and Mickey Mouse disappears with Riku. Oh yeah, Riku's also there too. Disappears. And then they get teleported to somewhere else.
Lewis. I didn't think it was possible. You did it.
So much was skipped.
You nailed it.
Yeah, we were talking about earlier about how, like there's a, Tokyo Drift, blah, 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 chronologically ordered. The first Kingdom Hearts game is not chronologically ordered. The first one is just the first one.
Correct. Oh, that was beautiful, man. Yeah, I don't know if you need a new monologue for auditioning down here, but I think you should.
You mentioning Riku as a footnote was my favorite part.
In like the last 10 seconds. Also, there's a Riku.
At the end, it's like, oh yeah, Mickey Mouse and Sora. Oh yeah, and Riku's there too.
Oh, I love it. That's what it's about.
I skipped so much. As I continue to talk, I realize I'm like, oh my God, there's so much.
It's such a good feeling.
I'm like,
when
there's
that
so
happens.
much.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much.
Yeah. For my notes, I only wrote down like character names and keywords, and I only got through half of them.
One day we're gonna get you through all of them, man.
I know.
One
That's
day.
never gonna happen.
Thank you for joining us for Convoluted Game Stories.
That's right. In
Convoluted Game Stories.
So yeah, that'll do it for our, I guess, this week's topic. But that will bring us to our Dragon of the Week.
It's the Dragon of the Week. Oh, it's so sleek. It's the Dragon of the Week. It'll make you seek. Dragon of the Week. Dragon of the Week.
And Dragon of the Week is our chance to show a little love, shine a little light, maybe have them come onto the stage and do a monologue. We don't know. But it's a time for us to show a little love to the gaming industry that we hold so dear and that we talk about every single week.
Yeah, let's talk about the people behind them.
Yeah, exactly. And this week it's going to be brought to you by Troy.
Who's ready to hear about a legendary composer?
Ooh, composers are my favorite. It's really hard not to do composers every time
All
I do
the
a dragon.
time.
I know. There's so many. Many.
I don't feel very composed around them, so I don't know.
I lose my composure.
It's all music to my ears.
On that note.
Well, I'm ready to talk about one for at least the next 8 to 10 minutes. And let me say, 8 to 10 minutes is definitely not enough time to discuss everything about her. I would say you could probably spend hours talking about the musician. You know what? I bet you could even create your own podcast just breaking down her work. Yeah, that's right. I'm going there. But all that being said, I'm going to break down some of her work today. So let me introduce to you Yoko Kanno, the iconic composer and musician for movies, TV shows, bands, and most of all, anime. Let me just cut to the chase, y'all. I didn't tell you. She is the musical mastermind behind Cowboy Bebop.
Whoa!
So yes.
You should end just there.
Yeah,
Yep.
honestly.
What else do you need to know?
gosh.
No video games mentioned at all. I don't care. Just Cowboy Bebop. That's it. So yes, Yoko Kanno is most famous for her work in anime. She is the one behind the industrially hard-hitting beats of Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, the wistfully hopeful melodies of Macross Plus, the energetic jazz fusion of Cowboy Bebop, and over 35 more animes spanning a 3 decades long career. Damn. She's even made songs for anime that have spiraled out to become #1 hits in the music charts worldwide. Anime is her jam. But what anime fans may not know is that this legendary composer actually got her start in video games.
What?
Woo. And she has continued even up to this day to make gaming her sad boo all these years. Yoko Kanno was born in 1963 in Sendai, Japan. Her earliest influence in music came from attending church with her parents. Funny enough that this is also my seminal experience with music. Nearer, my God, to thee. I was not on the Titanic. She studied keyboard and piano growing up and enjoyed music, but her parents only allowed her to listen to classical music or church hymns. Near to me. Like, that's it. Wow. That's all she got. Until she went to college, baby. Woo! Let's go party. College. I know how wild college is for a lot of people out there. This is how wild it was for her. someone played drums in front of her.
Oh man.
She was experimenting in alternative. Whoa.
In a Japanese interview, she mentioned how a college friend introduced her to drumming, like live drumming. Like, yeah, she heard drums in radio and vinyl, but now she was standing right in front of a drum kit and as it was being played and could actually feel the percussion like verbiate through her. She mentioned it was like experiencing rhythm for the first time. This moment changed the direction of her life. Before that, she was taking literature courses and whatnot, but after hearing those drums, she picked up a band elective courses, and through that, she was introduced to popular music. Now, while she was at university, Koei, the makers of all things Romance of the Three Kingdoms, they would go on to make Dynasty Warriors, Hyrule Warriors, all the Warriors, Gundam Warriors. They really like making those warrior games. But back in the 80s, they were making these Romance of the Three Kingdom games. So they caught wind of a very talented band student, reached out and asked her to compose their turn-based grand strategy role-playing simulation video game.
Wow.
Nobunaga's Ambition. I play games like this. They are intense.
Yep.
This was probably around 1982-ish or so. This was the first Koei game ever made, and the founder, Yoichi Arakawa, was also just a young programmer trying their best to make a living. And so this is what happens all the time. They go, I don't have any money. How am I going to get people to make music? Get the college kid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Accurate.
That's how it works. I think, Lewis, you're in that right now.
All the time.
You just got out of that.
Yeah.
So the game went on to be a hit, and Yoko Kanno's professional musical career was launched. Her work was particularly praised for the direction she took, despite having to be sneaky in how she did it. This is how cool she is. This was a game that took place in feudal Japan it's a feudal Japan political war game. So a lot of the musical direction was instructed to be like sweeping and militaristic. But Yoko noticed one aspect of the game which involved marrying off daughters to neighboring rulers to gain political power. Yoko saw this transaction of a young 14-year-old having an arrangement with an older man really sad. So she, without clearing it with anybody, composed very somber, very morose musical, like a musical interlude to reflect how like wrong that is. This is why we need more women in gaming.
Yeah.
There should be nothing romantic about that. And they didn't know about it. She just like said, no, this is how it's going to be, which I think is awesome. She would go on to compose for the next 10 Koei games over the next 10 years until, Cowboy Bebop blew up, and guess who was hired to convert all of that music into video game form? It was Yoko Kanno. Working with Bandai, she transposed her soundtrack to fit the Cowboy Bebop games for PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. After that, she then got hired to do the composition for the massively multiplayer online role-playing game Ragnarok Online 2. Did you play that, Brian? That sounds like a
the
Brian
second
game.
one? Yeah, I did. I also played the first one. The
I
second one was
knew
not nearly as good as the first one, though.
I knew it. As soon as I saw this was a JRPG MMO, I'm like, all those letters, that's a Brian name. That's a Brian name. So she did the music for that. In total, she has knocked out 18 video games under her musical direction, and all this was mostly on the side while she was changing the anime world. Her style is quirky, unique, deeply complex, and so freaking cool. She is like that funky jazz person that's just like oozing with charisma and that you just want to be friends with. Like if she's coming down the hall, like she's just got like a strut and a presence to her. It's just like, you're so cool.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, you're cool. Her music pays homage to masters of each genre, whether it be classical or pop, industrial, or even bebop, all while forging her own unique voice within it. Yoko Kanno finds a narrative connection between the character and their soundtracks and makes them indistinguishable from each other. I highly recommend looking up her concerts. She has started her own band called Yoko Kanno and the Seatbelts.
They're fantastic.
Yes, which is
They're so
composed solely of current and former musicians who have worked on Cowboy Bebop. Her joy for music is infectious, and her dedication to the craft is inspirational. So I just want to say hats off to this multi-talented, amazing artist. And like, here's to all the works that she has made and all to the works that she will make. She's only 56. like
She still has a lot of time.
and she is still pumping them out. And that is Yoko Kanno.
That's
Nice.
awesome. Yeah, I know Joe knows a lot about Yoko as well, because that was a very big influence on Joe as well, right?
Yeah, when I got it, my dad was very much like her parents. I listened to a lot of Italian operas and classical music only when I was a kid. So when I got into like high school was when Escaflowne came out. and she's the composer, and there's so many different anime that she had composed for, and I could not believe that her work with Seatbelts. I mean, that her band is amazing. So it's I've actually listened to the podcast that you were talking about.
Nice.
I love her music. It is, and everything she works on has its own style. It really does. Like, and even though it has its own way that she decided to play it out or how to make it, it's got it still has her unique twist to it, and I love her. So yeah. Good choice, man. Good choice.
Oh yeah.
Very good choice.
Yeah, her anime stuff alone is.
I'm hoping
can speak volumes.
They use her music for the live action Cowboy Bebop. They would be dumb not to.
Oh, they have to.
They'd be dumb not to.
They have to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
I would be shocked if they didn't.
Yes.
Like, genuinely shocked.
It should not be called Cowboy Bebop if it doesn't have Yoko Kanno on it.
Yeah.
You know, if I don't hear those trumpets in the intro.
Yeah, they have about 4 seconds to make that work, and then if they don't, then I think
I'm like,
they'll immediately
done.
lose everyone.
I'm like, I'm good, thank you.
All right, well, cool. Well, that will do it for this week's episode.
Ba-bum-ba-bum.
But you can always find us online.
Check us out on Twitter for the latest indie news and indie game news on a daily basis at Taste of Dragons. Also, check us out on Instagram if you want to be cued into all the events we have going on at Taste of Dragons. Check us out on Twitch. We stream primarily every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday at Taste of Dragons. And most importantly, I was going to plug this Saturday, but this comes out after this Saturday. That's
right. You can plug this Wednesday, though, because we'll be streaming some Fall Guys.
That's right.
With our friend Prince Baby Boy.
Yes. Yeah. What he said.
Playing some games.
That's right.
Games.
Come
we
chat
might
with
do it
us.
more than that. Yeah, we might do it more than just Wednesday. We might do it Tuesday as well. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, but check us out on Twitch is what we're trying to say. We're starting a new online streaming presence, so
We're
get
still
on out
figuring
there.
it out.
And also, if you made it to the end of this podcast, if you feel you're able to, go ahead and throw us a little rating, maybe a little say a little review, maybe throw that into our Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to your fine podcast.
We want to know what you think.
Want to know what you think, and it definitely helps us grow as a podcast.
For sure.
That's right. And send us some DMs if you want to get a little bit more in depth with what we could be improving or not improving, whatever, you know.
Them DMs.
But so find us online. But that'll do it for us. As always, my name is Brian.
My name is Troy.
Amanda.
I'm Lewis.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
The
Taste of
Dragons. Have a great week, everyone.
Hi, Lewis.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks for
Tell us more about Riku.
Taste of Dragons Gaming Podcast, a podcast for everyone's taste.